Okay, so
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Cool. Cool. So we're going to do a couple questions for you relating to this week's episode with Maria Scrivan. I said it right, Maria, I believe.
Scrivan. Yes, our children's author was on self-worth and our nationally syndicated cartoonist.
Yeah, she was great. Um, so the first question, I don't have it written down. It's from my wife, Erin G. I could probably just say the name because it's obviously
We
not
can't have
anonymous.
family on here, Paul. We can't do that.
That's
No,
there we go.
I'm
Anyway,
kidding.
comes from my wife Erin, and she just was wondering after listening to the episode with Maria if you could expand on your journaling process because you and Maria both talked about it. And I think for context, I think my wife used to journal when she was a kid up until college, and then kind of fell out of the habit. So yeah, she was just wondering if you could expand on that for her and see because I think in the episode you mentioned this is how I instruct people to journal or something. So I think that's what she was asking about specifically. So yeah, if you could just talk about that for a minute, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So the journaling is really important. I talk about it all the time. I push it all the time, and it's been very, very intricate, valuable piece. And as I've and one of the only ways I've been able to move through this self care savage process. And um, so right off the bat, again, journaling is not about, to me, is not about just having this next to my bed or somewhere that I sit in the morning or at night. This goes with me everywhere. In fact, I usually have several, and just depending on some things I may be doing, but I carry my journal with me. You journaling, taking it to the next level, is getting in that habit of carrying it with you always, just like your phone, whatever, backpack, whatever it is you carry with you, it needs to come with you. And because things are not going to come up and you're not going to be able, the feelings aren't going to get processed just when you want them to. Look, it's great to have a journal next to your bed. Look, I'm not, if that's what you do and at night it helps you clear your mind, I use that for that too. It's a little bit different, maybe getting things out of your head so you can sleep better and things like that. But I'm talking about the journaling that's going to help you connect the dots, to help you get to where you want to understand better how you're feeling, where it's coming from. I talk about this all the time. If you don't know where things are coming from, things that are causing you issues with your daily life, how you think and feel, and your reacting and acting towards people, you can't fix them, you know. But if you know and you learn how to journal with some small techniques, like I always talk about, is trying to connect the dots, and that's what's very important. So when you get anxious, or you're feeling really sad, you get really low mood, or you get scared, your fears coming up, whatever it could be, and is trying to understand where it's coming from. You come up with your own list, but that way, as some time goes by, you're able to, whether that's a couple of weeks, could be a couple of months, longer, whatever. But now you have a something to go back to where you can go, okay, well, oh my gosh, it seems like every time I talk to my mom, or every time I go to this particular place, or that's when I get triggered with whatever it could be, being angry or more anxious, but again, whatever that is. So that's really important. Other than that, journaling is about taking your journal, which I know a lot of y'all can't see me what I'm doing right now, but I have my journal and I've just opened it up. Now I have a pen in my hand, okay? And now I'm going to find an empty page. And whatever's going on with me, or whatever I'm wanting to write down or need to write down, I have this page now. So what I'm going to do with this pen is I'm going to make it connect with the page. And then I'm going to move the pen around through my brain down into my hand, writing down the things that are in my head right now. That's journaling. It's just, I'm trying to tell you, journaling is about being very active and taking action. And again, just open it up, put the pen to the paper, and write. There's no right or wrong. There's no system most of the time. And again, unless you have, that's more of a diary thing. Like you may, have, you have your little 3 points. My day was great, school was good, or work was good. My date was good, or whatever it could be. You write down those things. Journaling is about dumping feelings out. It's things that are going on right now. That's what journaling is to me. That's the way, and you just got to start doing it, and then you learn how to implement those other pieces into your journal, like the tracking, connecting dots and all those things. So that also, so I know we talked about the other question, so I'm just going to kind of lead right into that, if that's okay, Paul.
Yeah.
And so this is, Paul and I were talking about this earlier, and it was another question that came in, and this was a great question. Why don't you go ahead and read it? I think maybe let's read the whole thing, because I think everybody needs to hear everything in this.
Yeah, it's a good one. Let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so here we go. This is from Michelle, by the way. We'll say Michelle M. Scott, I recently started listening to your podcast. Thank you. When you talked about giving up on yourself and then hiking and feeling peace in the quiet, I related to that. As a kid and teen, I would ride my horse or go running for peace and to quiet my mind. Chaotic home. Now, as an adult, I do the same thing, adding in hiking and the gym more so than the others. Tonight, I went to the gym and could not get my ass out of the car. Just stuck, feeling sorry for myself, feeling down and completely drained of energy. I instead drove to a trailhead, hiked up 3 miles and back. The quiet brought me peace and I felt good enough to go home. But I know I'll have the exact same struggle tomorrow. Emotions about to explode. I manage it, but after feel depressed, but luckily not angry or wanting to do anything. My question is, will it always be a constant battle to pull myself out of dark places and wanting to give up? I can't tell if it's something in my life making me so unhappy, or if I'm just a depressed person who will always need to manage it. Hope that made sense. Side note, she's in her late 20s. I remember struggling with this back to childhood. I have 2 young kids. I think that's an added stressor. Thanks again for the great podcast. Stay safe. And once again, that's from Michelle.
Yeah, there's just so many great pieces in here, and again, ties into the journaling a little bit. So, Michelle, so a couple of things. Sometimes this is part of the journaling I'm talking about. A lot of what you just asked me is a lot of stuff you could put on paper. And also, when you had pulled up to the gym yesterday or whenever exactly that was, and you just couldn't make yourself drum up the energy or get out of the funk you were in or whatever to move into the gym. But the great thing is you did take another outlet. You did move in somewhere where you did take action. You got on the trail and you did let, you took some measures that were effective because you've done them in the past. And then you talk about feeling like this is going to happen, the next day. And so this is again where the journaling is very important. Because if this is happening on a regular basis, multiple times a day, every day, once, a couple of times a week, whatever. This is why a journal is so important, and is taking that time and getting all this stuff out, writing it down, and then maybe having your little checklist. And a few things to think about it, because I think you already connected a dot with part of the question you asked. So you talked about you've dealt with this ever since you were a kid. Well, the chances are very high that you need to connect the dots to what, when you were a kid, this could be stemming from. I'm not saying it's all going to be that, or it even maybe none of it is. But from what you said, I can't imagine that if you start connecting to some dots, they're going to lead you back to whoever put some thoughts in your head, or maybe some traumas that you had. Maybe, I don't know. We haven't gotten into that, so I don't know much about it. But the reason that I'm hot on that is the next thing you said was, you know, you gave some information about you and your situation, your age, and oh yeah, I have two small kids of my own. Well, again, I don't. This is not therapy, and I'm not therapizing you. But if that was me, or if this is one of my kids giving me this information, you know, I think your kids have something to do with maybe triggering some of these things from when you were a kid, because you're the one that tied that in a little bit by just saying, I'm wondering if that's part of it. My guess is it could be a big part of it if a lot of this stems from your childhood. A lot of what you're not for sure you're dealing with, and the anger and the depression and the anxiety and the things you're feeling. I think it's all tied in. This is where, again, I always talk about it. First of all, you got to heal, but you can't heal. You can't go back and do anything or be whatever it is if you don't know what it is. So this is that part of the journaling, connecting dots. Personally, my other piece to you, that I would tell myself, or again my kids, is I think that you're a great candidate to go to therapy. Not because I'm feeling like this is something that you can't overcome, but I think you can overcome it faster and accelerate it by having somebody to talk to that can ask you questions, help you maybe understand some things you haven't thought about, and maybe connect those dots quicker with your journaling. And then you can, they can help you come up with a plan and work with you on dealing with those, so you can reconcile. It's done and over with. It's affecting my life now, but it's over. It's done. Come back into the now, and then you can start. This is the cognitive behavioral therapy I talk about. We're not going to go back and relive all these relationships and just tell war stories and how bad it was and poor me. And that's not the cognitive behavioral therapy or therapist is going to ken. You're going to use that. Okay, sounds like it's coming from this. I'm feeling like every time I'm with my kids and one of them says this or does this, it triggers me or whatever. These are those connecting those dots where you can maybe go, okay, the reason I feel that way and I'm getting anxious because, man, when I did that stuff when I was a kid, I got beat with a belt or locked in the closet. That's an exaggeration, but you understand. So now you can go, okay, now you get it. It was something that was imposed on you by the people in your environment, the people, parents, whoever, that put a lot of these losing your self-worth through how they dealt with you and raised you, or whatever the issue could have been. The point is that you're an adult now. You have kids, so now you get it. You know where it comes from. So you do a little work around it. Again, work with the therapist, or if you feel like you're in a good place to do that yourself, and then move back here. Realize it, reconcile it, let it go, forgive yourself, forgive whoever, and come back here. And then that should start relieving all of this going into the gym, or going forward with any fears around these things that are a pull on you. Yeah. Therapy, and again, Better Health sponsors us through this. Again, I'm going to point to them only because you don't have to go anywhere. You can do it online. You could try a cognitive behavioral therapist if not working for you. Try another discipline if you want, whatever you want to do. But again, the point is you're able to do it with the kids, whatever. You can find those little spots, and that can help you jumpstart things. So BetterHelp is a good thing for that. So, but I hope that answered your question. The journaling, those are both great questions that tied into all that. And it's the greatest thing in the world. It's the hardest thing. It's hard, but it's one of the greatest things in the world.